All right. Oh, what's that reverb? All right. Welcome to the wonderful world of Rich Blye on cmpradio.net, where every Monday is Men's Mental Health Month, or Men's Mental Health Day. We're going to forget about the month, Men's Mental Health, on Mondays here at cmpradio.net. We're going to take a deep dive today. We're going to take a deep dive into something that's very close and personal with me. What I want to say may affect some people. It may change some people. It may help some people, or maybe you've heard it before and maybe you need to share it with somebody else. But from my perspective, today's topic is about my son, Derrick Eugene Blye, who was murdered 4 years ago in the city of Philadelphia. That number 324 has a significance to me because that was the number in which he was designated as the 324th casualty to the violence inside of the city of Philadelphia in 2022. 324. I, at that time, could never imagine that my son and our family would be connected to a number that had to do with the violence that we are seemingly becoming accustomed to. And when I say we, I'm not saying you, I'm not saying me. When I say we, I say as a society, I feel as though that we're getting very, very comfortable with that type of pain where it's almost a circus when someone is murdered and there are plans made to lay a body down, whether it be a daughter or a son, whether mother or father. But specifically, what I want to focus on today are these young black men who are at risk. And the best way to start that is to start by telling my story. My son, Derrick Eugene Blye, was born of a mother and a father and was loved. He did not come from a broken home. He did not come from a place where he was not given the best things in life. He was given opportunities with his education. He was given opportunities with his sports, whatever he wanted to play. We were playing it. We weren't rich, but we certainly weren't poor. We worked hard for the things that we needed to accomplish for our children. And like I said, during this time from 1999 when he was born, yes, the challenges for a father got a little bit, deeper and got a little bit more critical because even during this time in 1999, we were still losing a lot of young black men. One of the greatest things about my life that I've always wanted to be was a father, first and foremost. More than anything else that I've ever done in my life, I was proud of the fact that the adults that I brought onto this planet were children that I loved that came from me. There's a running joke in my family. Those children, they don't belong to mom, they belong to me. If you were to take a look at my son's face, you could see all of the semblance are, he has a little bit of his mom, but most of the features are mine, and so was the mannerisms and attitudes. Derrick grew up as a happy kid. Like most households, we love our children, parties and things of that nature, trips, Hershey Park, Dorney Park, whatever our children needed specifically, my son had those things as well. Some of the things about his life was video games and sports. And I can remember, after buying the game systems where I used to play them myself a lot, I got to get off of that. People talk about I'm going to beat your ass in Madden. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. But when I was playing those video games, I made my children competitive. I wanted them to compete in everything. I didn't want them to grow up with a losing mentality. I didn't want them thinking that, life is too hard, so I'm going to quit, or I'm not going to, try to achieve a certain greatness. And Derrick had all of that. He was a smart kid. He was a smart mouth kid too, because he was the joker of the family. But more importantly, he was very competitive, especially with his older brothers and sisters. He did not like to lose in anything. And secretly watching him develop like that, I was like, yeah, this is the one. This is the guy that's going to, really be that one to, accomplish, great things. Not saying that all my other children haven't, but just from an aspect of he had the same fire that I did as a young man when I was his age. Very, very inquisitive, wanted to understand how things work, and always looking for not the easiest way to do it, but kind of like the simplest way of doing things. He didn't like to overcomplicate stuff. And I developed that. Because I realized that was his skill. Derrick went to very good schools. He didn't go, he went to the neighborhood school. His elementary school was McMichael in Philly. And that was a school that was sponsored by former Mayor W. Wilson Good to revitalize the community along with the properties around there. So this became a magnet school, so to speak. And a lot of the kids that lived in the neighborhood couldn't go to this school, but Derrick somehow wound up being one of those. And he excelled when he was at this school all through elementary school. Really didn't have any issues. We're on track. Things are, going the way that we want them. So where do things fall apart? Where do things fall apart when we bring our children onto this planet? We're doing the right things. We're holding ourselves to a moral standard. When do things fall apart? And this is where the adults come in, and this is where I come in. Where I come in is that during that time in 1999, I worked a hell of a lot, bro. A hell of a lot. I'm talking about, I was putting in 75, 80 hours a week. And I'm not just talking about actual work. I'm talking about driving. Most of my jobs were out of state. So there were times where I couldn't be home, or I would get home late. And 1999 was a breakout year for me. I went from basically an hourly employee to a salary manager in less than 6 months in 1999. And it helped me economically boost myself and my family, and I was proud of that. But here's the thing, folks. I threw myself into the job, and I got lost in the money. Real rap. I threw myself into that job thinking that, I gotta go. And pretty much I was drinking the company Kool-Aid. You gotta go get them and da-da-da-da, And I had success with my job, but I didn't have balance. I was more successful at work than I was at home. It's the truth. I was more successful at work than I was at home, because I felt as though that, hey, if I'm out here, busting my tail and bringing this money home, that's all the more reason why, you don't see me, cut me some slack. Not realizing that my family was sending me signals that, yeah, the money's fine, the money's great, Dad, but we want more time with you. And I didn't see the signs of how I allowed my family to slip from me. And that is my fault. That is 100% my fault. I didn't realize that my son Derrick was having a resentment towards me. That, things that he would normally speak and all that stuff's in play, but as he started to become a teenager, he stopped talking, the drifting apart, and then when it came time for the challenges, I would say this, I've had my sons challenge me. I knew that Derrick was going to give me a run for my money, bro. It's always that one. I mean, like I know that my sons can fight. I know they can fight. But I really knew that Derrick was going to be the one that was going to give me a run for my money. It was just that fire in him, bro. And I knew it. Like I said, I cultivated it when it was young, but then in that sense of me not holding and having control of my family unit, not having that balance, other things came in. And those other things that came in were the streets. Yep, the streets. So while I was busy, doing my thing, thinking I'm taking care of family, mom's working and stuff like that, she could only do so much, when a child feels, lonely or feel as though they don't have what, they have at home or the attention that they need, it's very easy for the influence of the streets to come into a child's life and slowly start to take from them. I gave my kids allowances. They always had money. It was never a big deal about that. They always had money. Somebody in the family, I gave them money. But when that allure of money hit the streets, many kids couldn't deny it. And unfortunately, my son was one of them. This is a real conversation I'm going to have about how kids who start off really well and have come from a two-parent home can still fall into those cracks of selling drugs, using drugs, performing sexual acts, getting lost in the system, as far as incarceration and even death. So a lot of the experiences that I was going through, I wasn't ready for those challenges because, again, I didn't grow up in a criminal atmosphere as a child. You know what I mean? I didn't know anything about the streets until I was like 18. I wasn't raised in the streets, guys. I wasn't raised in the streets. I was thrown into the streets. But in getting thrown to the streets, one of the things that saved me was the fact that I had book smarts and I had common sense. And I looked at things, we doing that? That doesn't make sense. And I wouldn't, if it didn't make sense to me, I'd walk away, bro. I was good on that. Like I was good on that. I think that's what rescued me, is that I was around a lot of people. When you out there, and you know what I'm talking about, Bryce. Where I lived at in Logan, I worked at a little Chinese deli. It's got a front and it's got a back entrance. So, boom, in and out, business is happening. I was always cautious about what I did, and I never went back home with it. But when I was working that, again, I'm thinking residual money, residual income. You know what I mean? I gotta, do this, I gotta do that. Long story short, the money didn't matter. It was my time. And that was my fault. Again, poor choices. And those poor choices allowed this relationship with my son to start slipping because I didn't pay attention at that time to what mattered. I didn't. And that was my fault. The pictures that you're seeing that are coming up on the stage, coming up on the page here, show a happier time, show pictures, when, things were smiley or whatever. But again, we don't see the hurt and the pain past these pictures. What we see is a picture perfect scene of a family. Behind closed doors, there's turmoil. And unfortunately, that was something that was my own demise, because at that time too, I was drinking heavily. And I'm talking about, man, Jack Daniels heavily. All day long, bro. Come home, Jack. Wake up, Jack. Go to sleep, bro, man.
You ever ask yourself why you was drinking?
Yeah. I didn't love myself. I didn't realize it, but I didn't. I thought that the more that I did for folks, the more happier they would be. And when it wasn't reciprocated, I just drank. Right. And I mean, incessantly. I'd sit there at the bottle, get the glass, turn up. Right. I disappeared one time on a bender. Bad, bro. Bad. Harrisburg. Like 5 days straight. Nobody could find me. I was waking up, going to the liquor store, going back to the hotel room, drink the bottle, wake up, go to the liquor store, grab another bottle, drink that, fall asleep, pass out, wake up the next morning. because I was functioning at work.
Right.
But again, the way that my travel had me, I was living in Philly, but I was working in Edison, New Jersey. Or I was traveling to Delran. Or I was going down to Baltimore. Or I was, any wacko state, you know what I mean? I was out in Kansas at one time. Just, hey, Rich, we need you to go troubleshoot this. Okay, I got it. You know what I mean? It's free airfare. You know what I mean? They're putting up in the hotel. Yeah. Oh, listen, bro. I have nothing against corporations per se, but I have something to say about the fact if you're young, it's great for you to have that career field, but don't lose your sense of common sense and don't lose your sense of family.
Boy.
Stay attached. Do not lose that. And I just want to give that as helpful advice. Again, folks, when we have these conversations at cmpradio.net, the wonderful world of Rich Blye, I'm not the expert. But what I can do is give you a point of view from my experience and tell you truthfully, some of the things that we have all experienced at one point in time or another. In these cases for men's mental health, and why I'm speaking about it and using myself as for this experience is that I don't want to give anybody something abstract or, some type of, hey, go see this doctor or this therapist or you have to do these type of skills. No. What I've learned is that I had to be open and honest with myself. Number one. I was not honest with myself. I thought I was this, big machismo guy, big man on campus, and, the neighborhood loves me, the kids love me, False. That was all that alcohol infused inside of my brain, thinking that I was, I was the ish and all this other type of stuff, and I was rolling well, blah, blah, blah. But inside, I really didn't care.
Didn't care about what?
I did not care about the fact that my family was complaining about while I was working because I'm trying to take care of y'all. I'm trying to be the man. Can't you let me be the man? I was incomplete. The reason why they couldn't let me be the man is because I wasn't showing myself as a man. I was showing myself as a drunk. See, people can blame your children. You can blame your children for a lot. But hindsight being 2020, had I had refrained from that excessive drinking, if I had turned down a couple of those out-of-state jobs, I probably would have done a lot better as a father, and I probably would have done a lot better as a soulmate. I probably would have done a lot better in my community instead of frivolously spending money at the bar.
You're going to make me cry, bro.
Bro, listen, it's the truth. And the truth only thing about the truth, it sets you free.
It definitely does that.
It sets you free, And again, folks, the reason why I can give this to you so freely is because the therapy that I've gotten has absolutely, and I'm going to say this, absolutely done wonders. Because I don't have the type of therapist that massages my feelings. And I ain't gonna tell you who she is because she ain't taking on no new clients because I get good time at least once a week, right. With my therapy sessions, and I just want to say that it's up front, like my therapy's up front. It's aggressive,
right.
And that's the way I want it.
That's the way I want it.
I don't want you to spare my feelings in it.
No.
I want you to tell me exactly what the hell is going on.
Right.
And make me deal with it.
Right.
And make me deal with it.
Aggressive therapy.
Because I was so resistant in my shallow life in the way that I was thinking that any type of soft therapy, I was just going to use it as an excuse as, this was just unjust. I was treated unfairly. I'm going to find some excuse.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that. So in the process of talking about these things, in the beginning, yes, there were some unjust things done to me, some stuff on the surface. But going back and peeling the layers year by year, there were some foundations that I laid that I didn't know that I made. I didn't know that some of my actions, even though that I changed, even though that I got better, even though that I asked for forgiveness from my children, there were still latent pieces of resentment inside of them. And some of it's manifesting itself now with some of my children as they're older. I'm getting these, candid conversations.
Right.
And it's good because I could take them. But then I didn't want to hear it.
Why would you want to hear that you're not doing what you think you're doing, right? And you're already drinking, so you're already aggressive. You feel me? When you don't get the drinking, you're more aggressive. You're more upset. So, at that time, like, what could you have done to change anything?
Stop drinking. I think and I'm gonna tell you, that was the start with my youngest son, Nick. He came home one day and found me passed out on the steps, like halfway in the living room, halfway upstairs, man. And I remember lifting my head up, and I remember the look on his face, and he just shook his head. Now, with all of my kids, I know that they quietly didn't say anything about how I was drinking.
Right.
But then I started thinking about my grandfather, and my grandfather on my father's side, my dad's dad. He drank himself to death. He really did. He drank himself to death because I used to have to go to the store and buy his alcohol as a teenager. And that's another weird story. My dad wasn't a huge drinker, but what he drank, Yukon Jack, was enough.
Good boy.
Listen, 100 proof, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, go hard or go home. Go hard or go home.
Ooh.
Go hard or go home. Yeah. And he had a friend that he did, lawn care and tree removal and stuff like that. And two of them would sit out and drink and everything like that. And I used to watch this as a kid, not realizing that I grew up watching alcoholics, and I almost became one because I was around it so much.
Well, you see whatever you're going to be. That's what you see, right? What you see as a child, that's what you end up being.
What I didn't understand, too, is that in my youth, when I was young, when I was a kid, I was given alcohol. In my therapy, I had to go back into those sessions and realize that I was given alcohol as a child. And I know in some cultures, you let children drink wine and stuff like that in cultures and everything in that type of setting.
You was drinking Yukon Jack.
I was drinking Schlitz or Schmitz, whatever. Right. Listen, my grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a gentleman porter.
Right.
He was a gentleman porter for Conrail. That's the old Amtrak line.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that those are the type of, thank you, Ms. Staples. Thank you for that. It's not about everybody else. I'm not going to blame mom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest thing to do is blame mom. Be like, we both had our faults.
Right.
But it's not about her. She's not here to defend herself. She's not here to say, hey, this, that, and the third. And I don't do that to people. If I'm going to talk about you, you got to be in the room with me. You got to be in the room with me. I'm real about that. I am, because I really can't stand it. Hey, somebody want to talk to you, Rich. Well, where they at? Well, they right there. But tell them, come over and talk to me. Right. You don't need no messenger. But accountability is something that was required and I learned. And from that moment that my youngest son, when he stepped over top of me, I literally got up. I literally went in the kitchen and I dumped out every single bottle of Jack down here, like 2 or 3. I think it was 2, yeah. I had 2 bottles of Jack. I went into that kitchen and I poured that shit out. Poured it out.
Oh, what did he say?
He didn't say anything. It was just a look. It was just a look. I knew where I was. I knew I was halfway passed out on the damn steps.
Right.
I knew where I was.
Right.
There's no excuse for that. He stepped over top of me.
Right.
That
was your oldest son?
No, this is the youngest.
Oh.
Like I said, my older children, he's the youngest, he's the youngest boy.
Right.
All my children have dealt with, oh, that's just dad. You know how he is. Right. You know what I mean? But no. I was using that as an excuse and a crush to drink more because you're going to have to understand I have a long, hard day. Right. I wasn't mean to my children. I didn't hit them or anything like that when I was drinking. Right. I just had a bad attitude.
Right.
I had a real non-caring attitude, like the opposite of how I am now. I was absolutely an asshole.
Do you think you were trying to cover who you are now? You think you were trying to cover that up?
I think I was trying to cover up the weakness of loving people and people not loving me back. Like, esteem is a big thing, bro.
It is.
Esteem is a big thing. It's a big thing. And when, and I tell people all this time, this is in me. I grew up in a household with mom and a dad. You know, things fell apart between my mom and my dad. They got divorced. You know, but I still saw my dad.
Right.
But I experienced trauma with the next man that was in my mom's life.
Right.
Because he wasn't my dad.
Right.
You know, and I know my dad. I'm going to listen to my dad. I'm going to listen to you for.
Right.
You know, I listened to his rules in the house.
Right.
But the things about life didn't jive with what the things my father was teaching me.
Right.
You know, so that was a, you know, constant conflict. So that rejection of who I wanted, which was my father at the time, I grew up with that rejection. I grew up with it, and I didn't know that I had an issue with rejection
until you went to therapy.
Until I went to therapy.
Do you think it was rejection or was it abandonment?
Rejection.
Okay.
Because I wasn't abandoned. They didn't leave me alone. They did not take care of me.
Right.
The rejection was, you're not good enough. Right. You'll never be enough.
Okay.
No one's going to, you know, I had somebody tell me nobody's going to hire you. You're going, you know, you're not going to be this. You'll never be great. You'll never be this. Da 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 da. So when I went into my teenage years, and you know, the catalyst of the first person that I loved was my dad's mother, my grandmother. Right. I was told by my mom that I couldn't go to the funeral.
Because
it was my dad's side of the family.
Ooh.
So again,
right.
The tragedy is it started with me,
right.
With not knowing that the childhood traumas that I was carrying created an environment in which I expanded those traumas to my children.
Absolutely.
Unknowingly.
That's what we do.
Unknowingly.
Right. I said before you have a child, man, with your partner, y'all should go to therapy, man, and try the intense therapy. Let them tell you where you're wrong, because we don't know.
Oh yeah,
we really don't know how deep the trauma goes and how deeply we've fucked up so much shit. When I think about my life, bro, like it's not a lot like yours, but you know, we share some similarities.
Yeah.
You know, my dad died when I was 12, so death was right there. I lost friends. I lost my grandmother. I lost people. But I didn't drink.
Right.
I got high.
Right.
I smoked weed and it always looked like it was snowing on my Dutchie.
Right.
You feel me? Like, and that was the thing that I did until I went to jail. And when I went to jail, I heard my dad's voice say, "I told you." I'm looking out the window. I'm begging him, "Can I go outside?" And looking out the window, he told me, "No. If you go outside with those 3 young men, you're going to end up upstate like them." I'm looking out of Graterford's window, bro. I see those 3 young men.
Yeah.
I said, shit.
Hey, bro, let me tell you, and this is for anybody that's, you know, been locked up, been to the penitentiary, been to the House of Corrections. Yeah, listen, I know about that House of Corrections, bro. See, some of y'all on pick and everything, all that type of stuff. Listen, I get it. But none of y'all ain't really see a real phone check. So, you know what I mean? Some of y'all ain't, y'all don't, and I say this gently. That is not a rite of passage to go through those things.
No, it's not.
It's not a rite of passage. It's because of, and I'm going to say this very gently, I was very stupid. My grandfather gave me some advice. He gave me some advice about a person and said that person's no good for you. I was lined up, bro. I was in school. I had a job. I was on track to going to the service. Like, my life was looking good. I get off work. I met up with this clown. You know what I mean? We about to go kick it. I had just turned 18. Like, just turned 18.
Yo, that shit sound
like, seriously, this thing happened on my 18th birthday. The boy I was with, this clown, went and robbed this kid, took his jewelry. Right. I'm on the bus already, so I'm nowhere near it.
Right.
Man, come back. Man, get that boy back his jewelry, man. We don't do that. Come on, man. We about to go party. Let's go get some girls. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
Nah.
No, he gonna rob the bull. So because I was with him,
Right.
and we left,
Right.
and I ain't seen this boy in like about another 2 weeks.
Right.
And I lived uptown. I lived up in Brickyard. The boy lived down in the Southwest.
Right.
So when they picked him up, they was looking for his accomplice. That was me. Nobody had anything on me. I wasn't in the system. I was not in the system.
Right.
I had no juvie. I had no contact with the law, no nothing. I was a straight arrow kid. You know what I mean? I barely did ding dong ditch. I'm dead serious. I grew up a nerd, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Listen, I'm glad I was because if it wasn't for
The foundation.
if it wasn't for that foundation
Right.
of an
It
education,
would have crumbled.
oh, listen, they like I said, my sentence was, and I want folks to understand something about my sentence. It was very unique. I was not getting off on anything with this charge. This judge looked at my school records because that's all they, when they do a pretrial report,
Right. That's what they looking at.
that's what they looking at.
Right.
He don't have no priors.
Right.
No. He don't have no, brushes with the law.
No.
No. Well, what does he have? A's and B's, honor roll, this, that, and the third. That judge definitely said, we're going to make an example out of you. And that's exactly what he did. He made an example. He said, all right, got a choice. You can do 3 to 5 prison, take this felony. Or you can do this 2 years probation on each charge concurrently, $210 fine, plus this felony. Yeah, I'm still here, right?
Right.
Either way, I was getting his F.
Right.
Either way, that's what he wanted me to learn. He wanted me, for the first time in my life, to receive an F. And that's where the catalyst of where my world broke. And the ideal of, hard work pays, you know what I mean? All this other stuff, you do good deeds. If you don't lie, I went into, I'm like, Judge, this is what I did, but I didn't do that. The witness even testified and said I didn't steal it from him. You know what I mean? Judge wasn't having it. I remember his words distinctly. It said, you bear the responsibility of knowing better because you were older. And here's the kicker. Ignorance of the law is no excuse for the law. And there went my life. Right there.
Out the window.
Bam! All that going to the army, forget about that, bro. Do you understand what it's like that you took an oath to the Constitution and did you had to go back and they had to take that oath off of you? Do you know how embarrassing that is coming from a military family? I was shamed and shunned, bro.
Right.
I had uncles that served. I had an aunt that served. My father. My grandmother made the uniforms down at the armory.
Right.
I caught a felony. Not the smart kid. Not smart Ricky. Not the genius. That's what that, I had a lot of names. Not the genius.
There wasn't no way you could have, like,
Bro.
usually they tell somebody, I know they told me, and I called my gun charge up Philly. They was like, yeah, go into the military, or I guess they weren't doing that.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you? And I want to say this to a lot of young people, a lot of adults. Y'all got a lot of programs that y'all just not taking advantage of when your kids get in trouble. There was no programs for us during that time, bro. Oh no.
When was this? What year was this?
This is 89.
Oh yeah. He was cooked.
Oh, listen, I was cooked.
It was in the middle of everything. Everybody black goes to jail.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody black.
So when you get basically turned out, because that's what happened,
Yeah.
I got turned out.
Right.
I got tossed to the street. I got tossed to the street, curb, gutter.
Right.
I got tossed there because this judge, in his side of his mind, he's a bookworm.
Right.
There's no way he's going to be able to adapt to the street life. Wrong. My father, even though he was disappointed in me,
Right.
after slapping the shit out of me
Right.
and bring me back to my senses, explained to me how I was going to be able to adapt. And then that's when I went into training with my father. My father knew that I could not go into the Army, but my father, being a combat veteran, taught me from his experience. Right. That's why my stuff looks different from most people, but I still have that regimen. Right. I still have that respect. Right. I still have that discipline because of my dad. That's what saved me. If I did not have my father, I would have been lost in the streets. I would have picked up a gun. I would have picked up drugs. I would have been one of them bulls because I was so angry. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? I had a whole life ahead of me. Right. But I also lost my family because they were ashamed of me. I got family to this day, bro, that don't talk to me because of that.
But you didn't do anything.
That don't matter. I got family that treat me because of that. As I was trying to change, I wanted to show them, hey, I got better. Right. You know what I mean? Forgive me for that slight that I did to our family. Love me for, love me now. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Right. But because of that, ideas, attitudes had already been formed, and they're good when another part of a boat that sailed off away from me. So here I am alone. But I didn't crumble. I just got mad. Right. So every time something got taken or something I couldn't, obtain something, I got mad. I got angry. Right. And that's when all the fighting started coming in. I want to give a shout out to my aunts, Gloria, my aunt Mitzi. Please, 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 when you are around my children, do not tell them my aliases. Do not tell them the stories of Broad Street. Do not. My Aunt Mitzi told my daughters, oh, you don't know about Broad Street Ricky? That's the worst one, bro.
Worst one?
Yeah, bro.
That's your personality? Broad Street Ricky?
Broad Street Ricky. Broad Street Ricky was a fighting fool. Just angry about the whole world. What? Bam. What? Bam. And I'm talking about the age of one-hitter quitters, bro. See, a lot of y'all like the curb stomp people and everything like that. No. Back in the day, the best way you got your point across is that you hit them with a one-hitter quitter, you watch the body drop, and you walked off.
You walked off.
And you walked off. You ain't got to stomp that, man.
He out.
He out. My thing was I used to go to the store, get the 40 so he could nurse the knot. Right. And then I would sit there and tell him, why'd you do that? Have a little lecture with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the way that to me that's the way it was. Now there's no such thing as a fair one, bro.
Now you shooting them.
And that's the life that my son gravitated into. This changes. So once my son hit the streets, and I started realizing what it was, I dropped out of management. I dropped out. I literally quit the job I was working at for 7+ years and got out and took a lesser paying job to be home. I took that lesser paying job.
Sacrifices are needed.
Oh, yeah, but see, the pain don't stop there, though.
The pain don't stop.
But where's your extra money?
I don't have it.
I don't have it. What do you mean? No, bro. Nobody wanted to hear that.
They definitely don't want to hear
nobody
that.
Nobody want to hear that.
Well, they don't care.
When you're used to a lifestyle, when you're used to a certain lifestyle and you didn't question it before, but then the gravy train stops, you are looked at as less than. Ladies, sorry, that's true. It is. You are looked at as less than. You are treated that way too. If I fell off of a job and I was out of work for 3 months, I heard that for 3 months. Not that I wasn't looking for another one. Not that I wasn't interviewing for another one. You know what I mean? When you go, what's up with your resume?
I'm filling them out.
I'm going. I'm getting up every day.
Going to the interviews.
I'm broke. I got enough for gas money, bus money, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not out here like that. I got to go get it. And again, I didn't know my son was out there in the street at this point in time. I knew he would. I'm going to go play basketball. Blah blah blah. No, my son was out there getting it. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Because I was so wrapped up in my world, I did not pay attention. That's what I want people to know with this forgiveness of therapy. I have to forgive myself first for not achieving a level of success with my own son. So when people hear me talk about, hey, we're going to do this with the kids and stuff like that, it comes from a place. It comes from a place where I hold myself accountable, but I'm going to share that experience with you and tell you, don't be like me, or, hey, hear what I'm saying and change some things. I'm not saying go in there and start rating the kids, book bag and all that type of stuff, but start talking to your kids. Turn those games off. Turn them off, folks. Turn them off. And let these children see you. Get them engrossed in an activity. I don't care if it's a corny puzzle night. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's a throwback board game. Can I tell you that Connect 4 works like a charm? It does. I can literally turn off TVs and turn off smartphones with my grandchildren and literally play Speed Connect 4. All right, I beat you. Let's go. And make it competitive. Right. And they just be a laughing and a giggling and stuff like that. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours later. And that's 2 hours of no phone TV time. And I had to learn that because of my mistakes from when I was raising my kids of how to be better now as a grandparent. So with that being said, my father, again, a veteran, the safest thing I could do is that I got around veterans. I got around veterans because it was more of a disciplined style. I got around veterans because they were similar to my dad. And then I started to change my attitude because I was in an environment for the first time of disciplined men and women, disciplined. Yeah, they were having their fun or whatever, but one of the things that I keep telling people about veterans is that when you meet a veteran, just introduce yourself and then shut up. I'm serious. That's the best way to meet a veteran. Not laud on them, thank you for your service. That's great and everything like that. But if you really want to understand and know a veteran, introduce yourself, shut up. They'll talk around you, they'll talk to you, but every veteran will test you. And I got tested a lot. I got tested about my knowledge. I got tested about certain things that my dad taught me, but I got tested in my character. And because of that experience of being around veterans, I did start to change. Even though I wasn't a veteran, even though that was something I wanted to be, I wanted to obtain in life, the closest thing I had was going to a post. And it was in South Philly and stuff like that. I went to the South Philly Post down there on, and of course it was just sociable drinking. But more times than not, while I'm drinking socially, I'm talking to somebody that was in the Navy. I'm talking to somebody that was in the Army. I'm talking to somebody that was, part of the armed forces. And they would always ask me, you ever served? No. Well, you kind of act like it. No, my dad was United States Army. Oh, that's where you get it from. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've had people say to me, oh, you trying to be like a person from the service. I would never steal no valor. I know who I am. I'm an American citizen. I did not serve. My father did, and I make that a point. Don't ever twist me with these fools that think that they can stand up to the fine men and women of our armed forces. And I would not be a nut and be one of those guys. But even with learning how these disciplines, I still had no mean experience at home on how to be that way. Until the day that my son Derrick got hit by a car. He was 16. This is the first time I thought I was going to lose him. The car crash was so horrific. This car was speeding down Spruce near 56, 57th. And he had ran out into the street playing with the kids, and this car, bam! I mean, shattered his femur, shattered it. Had to get pins put in it, the whole nine. Again, here I am, Mr. Dopey Me at work, but this time I'm in King of Prussia. You know what I mean? So if there's ever a silver lining to anything, I was in King of Prussia at the time. And my boy BG, shout out to my boy BG. You know who you are, BG. Shout out to my boy BG. Come covered for me. Shout out to my man Mike Irwin too, because he was, you know what I mean. He said, make sure you get that replacement. And even though he knew my boy BG was, you know, kind of partying, he allowed him to, you know, put that shirt on and get on the floor and allowed me to, you know, go to the hospital to make sure that my son was all right. Well, again, he had his leg broken in like 3 places. Doctor said he would never walk again. I'm crying, mom's crying. And my son's looking at me. He's like, Dad, I'm never going to play basketball again. And I was like, the devil's a lie. You're going to walk again, son. You are going to walk again. So thank God, like I said, at this point in time, my development started getting a little bit better. You know, put down the drinking the alcohol, put down, you know, the partying at the bars and everything like that. Started focusing on family. I was able to, you know, take some time off to help him with his therapy. And, you know, I literally would carry him up and down the stairs. Like mom would, you know, call me and everything because I live right around the corner. Mom would call me and say, hey, can you come and carry him up? And I would come around the corner and I would carry my son upstairs. She would call me and say, hey, he wants to come downstairs now. And I'm, like I said, I'm right around the corner. I come right over and bring him downstairs, sit with him, talk to him, stuff like that. I had friends and family, of course, lots of love. They had care packages and stuff like that for him. So, you know, like I said, he was cool. But I was really concerned about the fact that my son was upset about the fact that he wasn't going to walk again. And for the first time in my life, that's where I knew fear. Fear of failing my son and his ability. You know, like I'm gonna say this to doctors. I understand that you are experts in certain things, blah, 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 but God is the great physician. So until, you know, I get a sign from him or, you know, so I get a sign from him, I'm not going to believe you. I'm not going to believe you. Because I'm a walking testament of being alive after being stabbed 5 times. I'm a walking testament of being shot after being shot. I'm a walking testament after, you know, being thrown out the 2nd floor window. Yeah, bro. It's some crazy stuff. But getting back to my son, again, I'm with him on those therapy sessions. I'm with him with the treadmill. I'm exercising, massaging his leg, blah, blah, blah. We get the pins removed. Dad, I don't think I'm going to make it. Yes, you will, son. Yes, you will. So for a lot of folks, here is where the reality of being what a father is started setting in me and dawning on me of how I needed to be for not just this son in particular, but for all of my children. This is where, from that point, that I really started paying attention to them. And then going back, going back and retracing some of my steps with my older kids to say, hey, you know, I had some misses with you. You know what I mean? I want to double back. I want to, you know, whatever I need to do. Tell me what I did to you, or have I done anything to you to make you feel as though that you don't want to be part of my life? Well, my son Derrick, by the time he was 17, had made that decision. And it went from a loving relationship to it's war. And when I say it's war, I'm talking about fighting in the street. I'm talking about phone calls and text messages. I'm going to bust your ass. Da, da, da. Like, this is my son telling me, you're going to bust my ass. Yeah. So the bravado in me is like, son, I'm still young. And remember, I still got this reputation. And even though that I took you to karate classes and you won some medals and you got shout out to Sergeant Slaughter for the training that he gave my son. But again, you don't teach your sons everything, and I didn't teach him everything. I sure didn't, because as a father, you got to have a trick up your sleeve when it comes to these kids, because they getting bigger and bigger. And I started sizing my kids up, and I'm like, yeah, I better have something for one or two of them, because I know they're gonna take me out. And Derrick was one of those kids. He, you know what I mean? He was one of those kids that I knew that if I didn't put him down in 2 minutes,
it was over.
It was over. Listen, it was going to be righteous. We had one of those moments. We literally had one of those moments where I didn't meet that 2-minute mark. I'm a firm believer in that if you get into a fight with somebody, you better have it done in under 2 minutes. Because if you don't have it done in under 2 minutes, you're done.
It's done.
You're done. You're done. You're done. And like I said, I remember it where we were at odds, and I'm trying to be there for him as a father. I'm trying to, I'm having an argument with one of the lieutenants. Boy, going to tell me my son messed up a bag. Like, I think it was like $350. Boy, going to come to me. Yeah, your son owed me $350. I was like, yeah, all right. He's like, well, if he ain't got it, I'm going to get it off of you. I'm looking around. I said, how's that? Well, And he pulls back. Now, I want to say this to you guys. I know the difference between those who follow Allah and are Islamic, and then there are people who claim to be Muslim and, they ride dirty. So let's not play any games when I start this next. Bull pulled back and had to steal on him. I'm like, bro, if you pull that out, how you going to get $350? This is the common sense that I'm saying, like right then and there. He thought I was just going to reach in my back pocket and pull money out and give it to him. I said, bro, how you going to get the money? Well, I'm just take it. I said, take what? I don't have none. I work. I'm not hustling. I work. What you going to do? Rob a working man? That's what we doing there? You a lieutenant? Drug dealer? You going to rob the working man? And he looked at it. I said, right. I said, listen, here's the code of the streets, bro. He'll work that off. You don't give him no more work, but he'll work that off. And after that, leave him alone. Man, I had to take my son out of Philly and finally get him into Delaware County. I had to take him. But again, all of that pain and trauma, I didn't realize. I thought I was dealing with situations. I thought I was handling business. I thought I was standing 10 toes down. In actuality, my son was in so much pain and anger and hatred towards me because I wasn't there. I wasn't. I was not vested like I should have been. I thought I was all the way there, but I wasn't. I was there in physical form. I'd come home every night, But then I remember how my kids tell me how I would take them out on my days off and fall asleep in movie theaters. And I didn't realize that when they tell that story and they're laughing to keep from crying because it actually did hurt them that they couldn't enjoy their time with me because I was so doggone dead tired from constantly working and putting love into a job and not loving them. And that's the truth. Oh man, I love the work. Gung ho. And yeah. And when I sat in the therapy and thought about it, that was the tragedy. I didn't shoot my son, but I kind of created the circumstances that pushed him that way. I did.
How do you feel when you think about that way?
At first, embarrassed, hurt. Like when she sat and she broke it all down in like little small pieces. Like it's aggressive, but my stuff is like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. I'll eat it, I'll bite it, I'll roll it around. If it's not for me, I'll spit it out. But more times than not, 9 times out of 10, I got to digest that. I got to digest it. And a lot of times in therapy, I don't want to digest what's harmful. I want to hear about how I can be better. No, in therapy, is biting, taking a bite out of that shit sandwich. You made it.
You made it.
You eat it.
You got to eat it.
Yeah, you made it, you eat it. Yep. And that was the start with me in realizing it. But I didn't realize that I was about to do something else or I created something else. When my son lived with me, we had a period of time where he was open and honest with me. And he told me that the main reason why he was out in the streets was because he had met up with some old friends of mine. And they told him
about who you were.
Yep. He said, Dad, I know all about you. I said, no, you don't. He said, yeah, I do. And he started rattling it off. Now, like I said, I don't tell the stories. I don't glorify none of that. I don't share them stories with these kids. Right. I tell them straight up. What I did, I was dumb. I was stupid. That was dumb. Yeah. Okay. I don't revel in it at all. But he's sitting up here telling me my life.
Mm-hmm. Like he lived it, like he was right there next to you.
And then the words came out of his mouth. And this is at this exact moment, in hindsight being 20, that I was going to lose this son. He said, I'm going to be better
than you.
That was Lucifer. That was the devil.
You want your son to be better than you, though. Not in that way.
I wanted my children to be the best that they wanted to be for themselves and live the lives that made them happy. Right. I did not push my children to be something because I said so.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The only man that a son will ever know that wants them to be better is their father. Of
course.
Like, your father is the only man that wants you to put you in a position to eat it all. Yes. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody else is looking like, oh, let's save something for me.
Right.
Right. So in that instant, when he said that, what did you say?
I said, son, if you think that this is going to make you better than me, I'm here to tell you, no. I said, son, it's a different time. I said, when I did what I did, there were no cameras. When I did what I did, there was a code. There was a respect. You know, there was a respect. We wasn't shooting and killing each other like that. I mean, why not to say it wasn't no shootouts or anything like that, but it was
rare.
You know, it was rare. And if it was a shootout, it was dealer versus dealer. Right. It was you had a beef with somebody that was doing the same stuff you was doing, not this indiscriminate just blasting everybody that's down the street. You know, given that situation in Philly, they've now concluded that it was all fire from the people that were shooting at an imaginary target that they thought was an op down the street because somebody bust a gun once. Somebody shot once. They heard the cap, pow. Next thing you know, everybody was switching. The people that were shooting at the op killed the people that they was trying to quote unquote protect. That's the result of the investigation. They're looking for everybody that was in that ring cam shooting because they was the ones that killed the people that was there. This is you can't make this up.
No, you can.
It'd be a great story, but who's going to buy the script?
But no, we've read about this before. It's not the first time accidental shootings come from the other side and hit someone. It's not the first time in our community where you have a bunch of people gathering and somebody hears a gunshot and pulls out a gun and shoots somebody. We have little girls that have been killed in the city of Chester, old women that have been killed in the city of Chester behind this type of stuff. So it's not like it's new. It's just now they have buttons on their guns and it's automatic, fully automatic. I saw that gun in that ring camera shaking like that. I said, I ain't never seen a gun, and I haven't touched a gun in a very long time. You feel me? And the reason being is I know how I am when I have one. Right. You feel me?
Like, you get a sense of invincibility, don't you? Like, try it.
I have something that you might not have.
Right.
And I'm not scared to use it. So I haven't touched a gun since 1999.
Wow.
I sold drugs in the city of Chester without having a gun, bro.
You crazy.
Literally.
You crazy.
No, I'm not crazy. Like, because my mindset was drugs and money.
I'm glad. Shout out to the people that did not stick my boy JP up.
I could get it again. But I learned how to hustle from a stick-up boy. I learned how to hustle from the robbers. Like, those were my family. So I was always around it. So I always could peep the scene before, oh, that's what y'all trying to do? Oh, all right, I'm out of here.
Oh, bro, listen. My oldest stepbrother was the third largest drug kingpin in the city of Philadelphia. This is before JBM.
Right.
So when I tell people about the game, You know, I wasn't one of those big gold chain wearing Cadillac driving bulls. That's not how I did it. All of the OGs that I grew up with drove beaters.
Right.
Wore Lee jeans.
Right.
You know,
sweatsuits. Right.
You know what I mean? We knew who he was.
Right.
We knew who they were.
Right.
But we knew why they didn't drive around in the fancy cars. Right. The crack era brought out the fancy cars.
Boy, did it ever.
All the gold dookie dope ropes and all the other type stuff, all that craziness, all that shit. So you knew who was the drug dealers because I'm the drug dealer.
Yeah, look at me. Look what I got on.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Does he sell drugs or does he work? I don't know. Nah. That was my thing.
Nah, if you was wearing one of them chains, you was selling.
Nah, I wasn't selling. I wasn't wearing no chain.
Yep, there you go.
That's another thing about chains with me. My dad introduced that to me very young. The idea of wanting a chain around your neck.
Yeah.
Right? What that really represented. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he broke down a lot of things that I ran from, I'm going to say early in my 16s, my 17s, my 18s, but that I began to adopt as I continue through, you know, the street.
Yeah. And again, my trauma of being booked on a charge for stealing a chain, I to this day I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear jewelry. I have no allure for it because that's what got me booked. Was a gold chain. So I've had people buy me jewelry.
You ever think about getting a pardon?
A what?
A pardon.
Pardon for what?
A pardon for your charges.
I would love to get a pardon for my charges.
But what?
We don't have people who care about Black American males enough to advocate for them. And let me say this very gently.
Yeah, advocate yourself.
No. I'm gonna tell you like
I get what you're saying, but go ahead.
I've already gone through judges, lawyers, and certain politicians. I've explained my case like I've explained it. The paperwork shows it. The paperwork shows it.
They want you to admit to it, though.
I did.
Okay.
I took a plea bargain.
Right.
I mean, I took a plea bargain. Right. That's what kept me out of prison.
I did whatever they said.
I did whatever I did it. I paid the restitution. Oh man, that restitution, Joe, was BS, bro. Let me. I got to circle back because this is part of my trauma. Yo, man, listen. So during this time, like I said, I had money that gave me the BS charge. $210 restitution. Go see the probation officer. I go to see the probation officer. He like, man, look here. I could already tell by your jacket, you ain't gonna give me no trouble. This is that time when they had non-reporting probation, folks. It was beautiful when they had non-reporting probation because some of you dummies just messed it up. Dummies, y'all messed that up. So anyway, I paid the man. Here you go, $210. I didn't wait for a receipt. This is at the time, folks. You gotta understand. This is why you pay. This is why you pay at the window now. For probation, because probation officers used to collect in Philly.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, bro. It was a whole scam. You a convicted felon? You coming in $500 cash?
Right.
And they gonna say, oh, you only gave me $250.
Right.
It's his word against yours.
Right. Who they gonna believe?
Man, let me tell you what this boy did. I gave that boy $210 cash, easy, and I went about my life. 3 years, went to Job Corps, got my culinary, certification, taking care of my family, going to work, at home, my mom, I ain't in the streets, I ain't doing none of that. One day, my mom was walking home from Bible study. Me and my brother go up to meet her. Some dude start harassing her or whatever. Me and my brother dust this boy off real quick, blah, blah, blah. Cop see it. He come over, he see what's going on, hear the story from my mom. My mom was like, yeah, they were protecting me, whatever. Cop was like, all right, cool, but let me just get your licenses, your IDs from you, just for the report.
You got a warrant.
Yeah. Man, I had a detainer warrant. I had a detainer.
For the $210?
For $210, dog.
So he put the detainer on you, but he ain't show up to court.
No, this is what happened.
They passed the case.
Oh, no, this is what happened. So my original probation officer died.
Oh, probably getting high.
I don't know what it was. I found this out when I got to court. Okay, right. So my original probation officer died, and this bull put down that I only gave him $30. So, of course, you know, the cop took the information, and at the time, David was real slow back in the day, folks. You know what I mean? So this is how you could get away with something. You get the cop your information, and you take the hell off, because it's going to take them a couple minutes before it runs back through the system. It's not as instantaneous as it is now. You know what I mean? So we walking down the street. We like a block and a half down the street. Boy, on the patio. Get your ass on the ground now. I'm like, what the fuck? My mom was like, what you do now, Rick? I'm like, Mom, I ain't do nothing. I swear to God. I don't know what I did. Man, boy, slammed me on the ground. I guess he thought I was a murder suspect or something.
Right.
Oh, he was hostile, boy.
Yeah. That's how they get.
Yo, listen, no, he was cool as a fan. Like, you know, before.
Back when you was defending your mom.
You want to defend my mom.
Now you got to come back. I got a warrant.
I got a warrant. Oh, you know what I mean? Because the detainer warrant didn't explain what happened.
Right. So you
all
got
it
to
is
treat
that you
everybody
a
as
detainer.
hostile. Well.
Now, for anybody in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to understand that detainer warrants have a statute of limitations to it.
How long is this?
2 years.
How long was the detainer warrant?
3 years old. In the damn system.
Right.
For 3 years.
Right.
Because the boy, like, it must have been, I saw him and then he died.
Right.
My original probation officer. So he must have, like, died right after I.
Right.
So the new probation officer come in and he like, okay, I got this file over. Hey, man, this boy owes some money, $170.
All right, detainer warrant.
Detainer warrant.
They ain't call you?
Bro.
What the fuck? You can put a detainer warrant out, you can call me.
Bro,
what?
First of all, like I said, when I got booked.
That's why I said probation officers need to be more like social workers. They need to go in there when you get released from jail. You feel me? They need to talk to you about your life, set you up with some therapy, and set you up with a.
Well, that's how it is. See, that's how it is now.
No, it's not.
No. You got access to therapy. You got access to it. They put the information in front of you. You can go get this. When I'm talking about when we was booked,
yeah, they was straight cops.
It was straight cops.
Yeah, they was straight
cops. I mean, listen, they were worse than the cops.
Cops and COs.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, boy. I'm in the back of the wagon. I'm like, yo, when am I gonna get my phone call? Bob was like,
you ain't get no phone.
You ain't get no phone call. You like, where you going? We going up Grant Road, brother. You going straight. No stops. No stops. No stops. He was told to bring me straight. Man, I'm up in that joint, prison overcrowding, level judges and everything like that. You know what I mean? Well, it should have been something. I should have been in there for 10 days. I was in there for 2 months.
2 months?
2 months.
Damn.
By the time they got up to me, the judge was like, oh, you should have been out of here.
You think so, Your Honor? Thank you.
50
days.
Boom, got out, went to see the judge. Now, here's this is what I'm going to say to people that, this is the process that they'll learn. So the second judge I got, I'm on my way to court, and I'm talking to one of my homeboys about going to see him. I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to this judge about my life and everything like that. Boy was like, man, just tell me you was doing this. And I'm like, no, that ain't going to sound right, bro, because I got this certification that can prove to him I was doing this. Da, da, da. He was like, nah, bro, I'm going to tell you like this. Da, 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 da. Hindsight being 2020, looking back, there was a man sitting there reading the newspaper on the train. And he's, ear hustling the conversation, I could tell. But he was a white guy. I ain't paying no mind. You know how we were back in the day. You ain't paying him. You ain't paying them no mind. Get off at City Hall. We all go our separate ways. I get to court. All rise. That white guy's the judge. Man, you talk about nervous. I'm like, oh man, I'm cooked. I'm done.
Right.
Like I just slid down in the chair. I didn't even want my name called because I knew I was going. I was going. Called my name. Said, okay, what's the circumstances? Yeah, this is the probation officer. Mr. Blye is an absconder. And I'm like, damn, I don't even like the way you said that, bro.
Right.
Yeah, at first I didn't even know what an absconder was.
Look that up.
Yeah, I had to look that damn word up. I was like, oh, damn, you basically calling me a scoundrel, bro.
Right.
You calling me a man of ill repute.
Right.
That I have no type of class.
No.
That I'm warrantless. That I have. Ooh. Oh, when I found out what that word was with this bull,
Yes.
that's another story.
Right.
So the judge asked me, so, okay, what happened? Right. I said, Jan, I had non-reporting probation. Right. I paid that man. Right. He says, well, I see the part where it says that you had non-reporting. The issue here is the restitution. So he says, what have you been doing in the 3 years that, that you've been away? I said, Job Corps, certification, home, family, work, church. Not out in the bars? No. You in the clubs? No. He looked at me and says, well, what's the recommend? Say to the probation officer, what's the recommendation? Well, I recommend that we give him the 3 and 5 or the original sentence and, just send him up there. I think it should be not 3 to 5, but I think it should be like 6 to 10, and just separate the charge. Boy wanted to throw me under the jail for $170.
That's what they do. Typically,
$170.
That's a lot of work.
So again, here's that pain.
Right.
Of rejection.
Right.
That another black man in a position wanted to throw me in jail.
Right.
And I'm out here doing the right thing. I could see if I was out there fucking up and, doing all that type of stuff and you caught me out there doing stuff, I'm out there defending my mother. So the judge looked at me and said, we're not doing that. No. And I was like, oh, there's life. The bell came on. I was like, oh, there's life. He says, no, we're not doing that. He says, young man, if you haven't noticed by now, I was on that train and I heard what you said. And I'm glad that you did not come into here and lie. That was another turning point in my life in dealing with judges, police, and
everybody's not bad. Bro.
Yeah.
I had to realize that.
So. That was a turning point for me. That was a turning point for me because I always was skeptical of white. I was always skeptical of law enforcement. I was always skeptical of these things because these are the things that are put inside of us, and that's another trauma. This in-house racism that we keep putting into our children and making them hate on basis of color because of your ignorance. But I'm gonna get that.
It's painted in racism, right? So it makes you think that everything inside is racist. And my uncle, he was a lawyer. Lamont Gibbons, he was a lawyer in the city of Chester. He used to take me with him, fight his cases. I remember when he went up against the old DA that was in the city of Delaware County. But I remember him telling me, everybody don't have to like you.
Right.
They should respect you.
Yes.
And the people that don't respect you, that's what racism is.
You
know what I'm saying? And it's like, wow.
See, all racism isn't based upon color. Right. It's also based upon someone's lack of talent and jealousy of the talent that you have, and then attribute it to your color. Yes. Okay. And as we see, we got a lot of exciting whites playing sports nowadays. So y'all can stop with that whole thing that white men can't jump and all this other type of stuff that we grew up with through the years. But through the grace of God, this judge saw through this man and his pain. Said, do you have $170? So I immediately went to my pocket like, yeah. He's like, no, just go with him, blah, blah, blah. So the bull was like, yeah, I need you to go and get a money order, and you better be back here in 10 minutes or I'm sending you. Went back, got the money order, and, walked away, and that was the end of that life. But all of that pain that I realized of my life, I allowed to encroach in the lives, not maybe as deeply some of my children, but in every aspect of it, somewhere my inconsistency caused an inconsistency in my children.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a deficiency, an inconsistency. Something I did not complete.
I see that in my son, right? I see that in my daughters, and I push them to just want more, strive for more. I get it. I'm accountable. I fucked up.
Right.
Right, not you.
Right.
And you're dealing with pain from me fucking up. So I fucked up not only for this, but I fucked up for you as well. Right. And I'm sorry. Right. When I apologize, I'm not just apologizing because I left. I'm not apologizing because I cheated. I'm apologizing because you're finding it so difficult to find yourself.
Right.
Right. So, I tell my kids, as long as we talk, we'll be fine. Like communication solves majority of the issues that we have because when you bring it up, I can dissect it a little bit better, right?
But isn't it funny now how at our ages, when we didn't have this type of level of communication or openness of communication, I can honestly say, growing up with my aunts and my uncles, I couldn't have the type of conversations I have with my kids. You know, I think part of growing up during that generation, they're the boomer generation. We're Gen X.
Right.
It was always figure it out. And I'm not saying that they didn't have the answers. I'm now learning that they had traumas too.
And they didn't get it.
And they
didn't get help.
They didn't get help. They did not.
No, they didn't.
Did not. And I'm finding the traumas.
I made it through. Why you need help?
Right. What you complain
about?
This general bull moose syndrome. You know what I mean? Yeah, if I made it, you can make it.
I
you know.
I had a baby mom today to call me a female. Like literally, I said, "Wow,
wow."
I said, if you only knew. If you only knew, like. A female though?
The insults that we as men have to take, I think, and I'm gonna say this ladies very, very gently. We are destructive with our hands if we become violent, but your mouths are just as destructive, or sometimes even worse, because we can't punch back. Especially those who have been raised with the standard of respecting women. Not only in our family, like Bryce, you see me, bro. I respect all women, because I don't listen. I put it like this:
I respect my grandma, so I respect all women.
I respect all women because you don't know if she got a brother.
No.
You don't know if she got an uncle.
No. I ain't worried about them.
No. See, I don't worry about what's in front of me.
Right.
I worry about what I don't see, because you don't know the person in front of you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is what I always teach my children. Understand and respect the person that's in front of you, because you never know who they may know. Whether they may know me, or they may know somebody where it comes back and ain't nothing I can do about it. Case in point, today is the day that my son was murdered. Yesterday, 4 years ago yesterday at 7 p.m., I got a call that said, there's a murder, death, kill on your son, get back in the street. Like literally say, get back in the street. Not go find him, get back in the street. And I literally 4 years ago had to do some scurrying with some people that I hadn't talked to in a while. I had to go some different places and talk to some people that, was like, you still alive? But they heard about it. They was like, that's your boy? I was like, yeah. It's like, the streets they calling for it. The street, literally, there was a feed on social media that said, put him on a t-shirt, put his face on a t-shirt, put his face on a t-shirt, put his face on a t-shirt. All the way down to Joe, and I'm reading it while I'm driving, trying to see if he gonna buzz into the conversation and I can get a location on him and everything like that. I'm literally spent 24 hours looking for him because I knew it was coming. At 7:04, 4 years ago today, in the AM, I was on my way to Virginia because I had to go handle some business down there. And that's when the word got to me that he was murdered. I didn't stop. I got to Virginia. It took me like 4 hours. And folks, this is the part of the conversation where I have to let this part go, because throughout the courts, throughout the investigations, I couldn't speak on where I was inside of my head. But I'm going to tell you right now, that dragon woke back up the day my son was murdered. That dragon woke right back up. I made 3 phone calls. I had something very nice delivered to me in Virginia, and it took me a slow motion, and I took a nap, and at 2:14 in the AM, I went back to the block where he was murdered. Don't you know that dummy came walking right back into the light, shaved down? That dummy. I'm in the cut, baby. I'm in the cut because I knew that this guy was going to come back to the scene of crime because the man that killed my son was his best friend. Oh, yeah, you got to be careful who you let in your house, folks. And I'm saying this to you, folks. I'm saying this to you very gently. Check your friends' friends. Check your family's friends. Check your son's friends. Check your daughter's friends. Check them. If they don't seem like that they right, if that spirit don't sit well with you, get them the heck out of your house. Because in the same instance that happened to me, I had a best friend that snitched on me and made me take the charge. His best friend decided that he was going to go on a murder spree. Because he didn't stop with my son.
Oh, he was making money. He was a hitman.
Oh no, he was Juice. He was Tupac from Juice. Yeah. He tried to murder the whole crew. He tried to get 5 more bodies.
I mean, you shoot one, you got to kill them all because they're going to suspect you, so they're going to come for you.
No, he didn't care. He just said, I got the first one. He liked the thrill of it, and I'm going for the rest.
Yeah, that's what it do.
He decided to turn himself into a serial killer. When I'm sitting in the court and I'm reading a list of charges and they're allocuting it and they're reading the fact that, after the murder of Derrick Blye, he went to such and such a place and tried to murder the other friend, and then that didn't help, and then after that he left from there and he caught down 2 days later. This is all in the space of the 11 days that they're looking from him from the time that my son was murdered. This is all in 11 days. He tried to kill 4 more people. So this is the mentality of pain, folks, in knowing that not only that this man wanted to turn himself into a serial killer, he was successful with the first body, which happened to belong to me. And there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing. And even when I had him right in my sights, I heard a voice that said, peace be still. Literally, peace be still. And I was going to rebel against it, bro. I was going to knuck that boy. I ain't going to lie. I told it to the judge. I was going to do something. And she said, I'm glad you didn't say it. But now that it's disposed of, Judge, I was going to take that boy off the face of this earth. He was going. That was going to be my first. That's how I felt about it. Nobody could tell me nothing. Shout out to all my friends, Pauline, Dave Galuch. Shout out to Becky, and shout out to Judy, and shout out to the Kellys, Joe and Lisa. You know what I mean? Shout out to you, Miss Cole. Shout out to you, Miss Bruno. Shout out to, there's so many people in my camp that kept me so solid throughout this process, bro. But at that moment, he was going. But I heard the words, peace be still. And I lowered that weapon. I let him go. 11 days he was caught. 11 days on the 12th day, I took another trip to Virginia, packed up my little special gift, and didn't worry about it ever since after that. But the pain for the next 2 years was so severe because, 1, I didn't have therapy in the first year. 2, again, I wasn't honest with myself about the accountability of what was going through with me and how the things were done. I was really going through the motions in the first 2 years. I didn't know how to talk to the remaining siblings. I didn't know how to be expressive. And then right behind my son being murdered, several months later, my mother died. And that was it for me. Like my father had died, right. My grandmother died, my spiritual mother died, my cousin died. Like I experienced like about at least 10 deaths in the space of 2.5 years. And I didn't realize that with that much compounded grief, that I had a lot of pain that I absorbed. And I'm sitting up here fronting. Right. I'm sitting up here playing it off. Right. I was a zombie, bro. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was going through the motions with my folks. I was being there, showing up, throwing a smile, Inside, I'm dead.
Dead, bro.
I'm dead. I got a Juneteenth ceremony I got to put on. I got to steal my brother Brian Sharif Taylor, bro. My girl Tina Hamilton. Like My boy Jim Collins, like all these members of my team, that were there for me solidly, gone. No anchors, bro. Hurting. I picked up a Bible. I picked up my Bible, bro. And I shut myself off from the world. I shut myself off. I didn't go out, but people were trying to bring me back. Shout out to my boy Billy Jack.
Right.
People were trying to bring me back.
Right.
Joey Getz, Joey Mazza, Michelle Mazza. Yo, the names are gonna pop up. I'm gonna spit a lot of names out.
Right.
You know what I mean? My sister Venetia Wages. Miss you. You better get up here for the show. We miss you. You know, a lot of people were on my side, but I couldn't see it because I was in so much pain.
You're underneath of all the grief, and then you're underneath of all the trauma, and then you mix the trauma together. You got tree trauma, right?
And then, of course, what I was, I was still trying to be,
real outside.
I'm trying to be. I'm still trying to be active. I'm still trying to be part of the community stuff. And unfortunately, for people like me, we got pulled out of our grief because when people see, and this is what I want to say, people when they see that you're in pain, they really think that that's a weakness. Can I tell you something? That is the biggest mistake you can make with me in your life. If I'm in pain, that's the worst time to come from me because I get ruthless. I lose all sense of my moral structure when I'm in pain. When I'm in pain, I go unconscious.
I'm hurting. Fuck you.
And whatever the aftermath is, that's just what it's going to be. Yeah, and you have to understand something. I walk it like I talk it. Yeah. And I promise you, I'm the type of person, I may not see you today.
Right.
I may not see you tomorrow.
Right.
But I'm going to see you.
You're going to see me.
But I'm going to see you.
And you don't really want to see me.
And you really don't want to see me in that state of mind. And it was bad, bro. It was bad because even though I had my brother Brian Sharif Taylor, there on my side, I was still doing some, clandestine stuff.
Right.
I was still going out at night and just trying to find some type of situations to get rid of this frustration, get rid of this stress. Right. I was looking for somebody to beat up. Right. I was challenging people to fight. I was challenging my local, I challenged the politician. I know that was stupid, but I did it anyway. Right. I was like, man, look, we can put on some boxing gloves. Right. I don't like you anyway. Right. We go right over into this gym and we can box for charity. He thought I was joking. I was dead serious at that time. Right. Yeah, I was dead serious. Like but they understood that I was in pain. But they pushed anyway.
Did you understand you was in pain?
No. No, I didn't. I understood that I was hurting from the deaths. Right. I didn't realize how
hurt you really were.
How the pain really affected me, both mentally, spiritually. Right. Like, physically I was there. I still had the capacity to move and do stuff with my team. I was still involved. Right. But what was erupting inside of me when I got away from those things, when we broke out and, we all went our separate ways, what inside of me came to the surface. Right. The real me came to the surface. That real angry me came to the surface. You know what I mean? Not to depress me, not that, I want to go back and drink me. I'm really angry for everything that's ever happened to me, and I want to find somebody, one person, to show them just how this shit feels. Right. And I can say this, if it wasn't for my team, several times, there's people that was going to get it, bro. I mean, like, they literally sat on me. Love you, Pauline. Literally sat on me, bro. There were times when I had politicians putting their hands on me in front of them, knowing my state of mind. The charge I bit, excuse me, and I got to talk about this. I made a post about Detective Marvel from Upper Darby Township yesterday. And I don't know if everyone's seen it, but I saw the detective that was on the case where I was charged with disorderly conduct by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I don't know how that was done, but at any rate, I saw, Detective Marvel, and I've been carrying a certain resentment towards him for 4 years. I'm sitting up here thinking that, they all in cahoots, whatever. And when I saw him, I was a little snarky with it. I shouldn't have been, so I apologize for that. But I called out to him and I was like, yo, Detective Marvel, we good? We good, fam? And at first he didn't pay me no mind. And then he saw who it was. And I didn't expect him to step back to me. I just thought he was going to look at me and just, be arrogant about it and keep it moving. But he sure did walk back. And I'm sitting on the side of my car and he's like, Rich Blye, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, Detective Marvel. So we started having some real upfront conversations about, the case that got put on me and everything. I wound up, of course, beating the charge through appeal and everything like that. But, thanks, bro. We had an upfront conversation about what had happened and my area of responsibility with this. And I know people are saying, well, Rich, you didn't do anything. No, I didn't help my cause on that day. I was really, really angry. I really, really got out of control. I really, 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 really let my anger explode over something that was very small that I could have walked away from. And at that very moment, in speaking with this detective, I realized that I had to forgive myself and forgive the situation and realize that this man was just doing a job. It was an unfortunate circumstance of him doing that job. But nonetheless, we left with a handshake between two gentlemen. And now it's dead. It'll never get discussed again. It'll never get brought back up again. There are no hard feelings. Ain't going to be nothing said more of it, because how I feel is that if you can be a man with integrity and have these simple conversations with another man that you may feel slighted with, and that man openly receives what you're saying and provides input from their perspective and finds a mutual way to part where there's no hard feelings or anybody's going to get hurt. That's what happened between Detective Marvel and I from the Upper Darby Police Department. So shout out to you, Detective Marvel. Again, thank you for your integrity in this conversation, that candid conversation that I had with you. Again, it just so happens that it happens to be around the same time, 4 years later, at the same place at the Fresh Grocer. But I don't find that as coincidence. I think that God saw that I was ready to humble myself, because it was a humbling to listen to this man, even though I had animosity in my heart from the pain of being accused of doing something that I know I didn't do. I realized that I was tested during that time. And even though that I did not do my best, 4 years later, I passed a bigger test. I became a bigger person by acknowledging the fact that I had a certain responsibility to self to talk to a man about a slight or perceived slight, my slight, not his, and hear his side of it and be able to accept the answer. Okay. I'm not saying he did anything for me. He didn't promise me anything. He didn't say, hey, I'm going to look out for you. He didn't do none of that. He just said, hey, Mr. Blye, I understand that if circumstances were different, knowing what I know now, it wouldn't have went down like that. And he was honest about that, knowing what I know now. And I can respect that, because nobody knew, because I was being charged by the Commonwealth. Who put charges against me? Who put charges against me, man? That's all I was saying. Like, I understand that, ain't my first time on the rodeo, but I know how to read a paper, and I'm looking at my paperwork, and it says Commonwealth versus, okay, who's the plaintiff? Bro, who's the injured party? The township or the city can't be the injured party unless there is some type of physical violence towards a city or work employee or to a building structure or a property. Okay, and since none of that qualified, who the hell was suing me? And at the same time, hold on, and this is where you come in. At the same time, my freedom of speech rights were being taken from me. Anybody that knows me, I'm a natural speaker. I enjoy going to my council meetings. I enjoy having conversations. It's not always critical about infrastructure or whatever. Sometimes it's about history. Sometimes it's about general information, whatever, what have you. But to be told by another black man that you're not going to speak hurt me to my core. After everything that my father fought for, and I'm going to get back to the veterans, after everything that my father fought for, after everything that my grandfather fought for, how my uncle served, how my brother served, how my brothers served, how my commanders served, listening to stories of veterans, listening to World War II veterans, having lunch with them, sitting down with Korean veterans, talking to Navy guys and hearing stories about the Arctic and the Antarctica and the penguins. And, you know, shout out to the executive board of veterans. Y'all know who y'all are. Collindale, Alden, East Lansdowne. Yo, you got to meet these guys, bro. We're going to have a show with these guys. They are their own little section. It's like about 10 of these bulls, and they're all veterans, but they all got stories to tell. And there's one that served in Antarctica, and he tells about his time there, the work that he used to do, how cold it was, and he has great stories about penguins and all this other type of stuff. And he has an incredible slideshow. I think the kids would love it when they see it. We want to start bringing veterans into this program. We're going to have a veteran program where we might do some on-site stuff, SteamYard, whatever. But I'm going to get some veterans in here so you can start asking and talking about the experience. And I'm talking about some guys that are like 80, 90 years old. You know what I mean? So you can understand these guys are the patriots. Okay? These guys are the patriots. I'm not a patriot. Okay, I'm not a patriot. What I am is a American who lives by the principles of freedom that was provided to me by the service of veterans. See, my title might be a little bit longer, but it comes with more responsibility because there's a blank check, and I still got to pay that blank check. And I'm still going to pay that blank check. I'm not going to be one of those bulls that's going to forget about the fact that there's a blank check. And that's what we need to teach, because we got a lot of people running around here with this thought of freedom, bro, and they have no idea whatsoever. Oh, we don't need to tell you, we don't need to do all that. Yeah. Okay, keep thinking that. Well, you're going to find out, because they about to make y'all lose your freedom a lot coming up nowadays. But that'll be another story. That's going to be another story. But carrying that pain from all of those years until this point, until I got some serious therapy, where it was consistent, where I could absolutely, I went through like about, I'm going to say 3. The first one, she kind of knew me, and no offense, she kind of knew about my, activities as far as in the community and stuff like that. And I was like, no, that's too close. You know too much about me. So I didn't finish with that. I chose to go someplace else privately. And in that it's a lot better. You know what I mean? I deal with it. You know what I mean? It's dealt with. And that's why I'm able to sit here today, on this day, and say, I'm not healed, but I'm not waking up crying. I'm not healed. I'm getting a good night's sleep though now. I've been sleeping more than 8 hours.
How much is that good night's sleep worth to you?
It gives me a clearer focus every day. Right. Every day I wake up with purpose now. Right. I woke up purposeful. Right. I woke up, but now I wake up with a purpose.
Right.
Now it's about, I have From the time I wake up at 6 a.m. until the time, I leave here, blah, blah, blah. Right. I've done 4 or 5 things already on my list today. Right. I took a veteran up to media today for the Coast Guard flag raising and got him connected with Veteran Services. Right. And he has he has an appointment next week to get himself established and deal with certain things because the man needs help. Come on, Rich. But this is not the first veteran that I've helped do that. I've helped clear another veteran with her widow's service benefits from her husband passing away, and got her connected with her benefits. So in a couple of months, she should be seeing some change and everything like that coming that's due to her, so she can move out of her situation and clearing up that from my brother. I was able to really come back into my American Legion and be a lot stronger than I was because I had slacked off. I had slacked off.
Don't you think slacking off was
necessary?
It was warranted.
It was
right.
It was necessary, but you had to
deserves a different word than the word we use all the time.
You have to understand something, bro. But I was still having that pull of they need me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Until my commander, love you, Lisa Kelly. Right. My commander said, "Get the hell out of here and go get right."
Yes.
You take your time.
That's what you need.
Like and that's what I'm saying. To have somebody that this woman absolutely couldn't stand my guts, bro. My commander could not stand my guts when she first met me. She told me to my face, Rich, I couldn't stand you. I said, I know, and I give her a hug and a kiss now. Right. I give her a hug and a kiss now. But truthfully, with everything, with everybody that we've lost, as our group, like my sister Pauline and my sister Letty Knapp, they take me aside and talk to me. I've had some really great conversations with a lot of men that are close to the situation as well. But my commanders, Joe and Lisa Kelly, have been rock solid for me, especially when my brother died. Joe Kelly is true. Joe Kelly is true. Lisa is true. And they helped me up because I thought that losing my brother, there's my protection, there's my shield. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do now? I was like, that right there, that damn near killed me, bro. I mean, like, I was like, what am I going to do now? Lost the nonprofit because I had to shut it down. I wasn't trying to fight nobody's estate. You know what I mean? I ain't trying. My brother told me, look here, when a certain somebody come, just get out of the way. And people were like, oh, you can hold on to this, you can do this. And I was like, nope. My brother told me, when this person comes, and I take orders. And I did exactly that. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I didn't fight nothing. I'm glad I didn't lay no claim to nothing. I didn't lay claim to the nonprofit name. I didn't say I invested money. I put money in my pocket. I didn't come back with nothing. Here you go. Here, my dear.
Yeah, here you go.
Here, my dear.
Yeah.
Laissez-faire. Hands off. You're not going to get me like that. Laissez-faire. Here you go. But letting that go, it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. It was my brother's. And guess what? When he went, it went too. I could go pull a name. I can go pull it. It's still sitting in the queue. Anybody can go pull it. But you're not going to have the same essence of what he brought to that nonprofit. Nor will I. Because I'm not that man. And I missed that man. So with all those things that happened, blah, 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 I did a complete shutdown, bro. I emotionally, it was a wrap. Emotionally, it was a wrap. There was no laughs. There was no smiles. There was no happiness. There was none of that. There was none of that, bro. There was just this. Shout out to my sister Pauline. Shout out to the late, great Nick Sabatino. Because I'm going to say this also while I got Pauline on the screen. I met Nick and Pauline through various functions, community functions. But Pauline, I already knew Nick. You already knew that I knew Nicky. And I knew him for different reasons. And there was always something between me and this man. It was whatever and whenever. My man passed away from ALS. God rest his soul. God bless his family. But when I tell you that I would get hit in my messenger about, yo, you keep going, brother, I got you. When I'm telling you that if I had an issue on the street somewhere in Stony, that was a phone call, baby. Certain things were done without words having to be said. Right. That's the respect that you earn from a man, bro. And I learned that in Upper Darby. See, a lot of people don't understand, oh, you from Philly, da-da-da, you hype up Chester, da-da-da. I hype up Upper Darby too. But the one thing that I learned in being Upper Darby is that real G's do move in silence.
Yes, they do.
And sometimes you don't know who you're talking to. And my man, Nicky Sabatino, was a G with a capital. A capital. And he didn't move like that. He was quiet. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. That wasn't his style. It wasn't necessary. But trust me, his eyes said it all. And most people knew what that was. Straighten up or fly right. One of the two. It's going to happen. I have a picture with my man, Nicky Sabatino. And when I tell you that I sat there with him before, he left this planet, and I had the opportunity to say to my brother and whisper in his ear so that way he could hear what I needed to say to him. That was another part of my pain, is that now, the things that are close to me, my sister's husband, our sister Tina, our brother Brian, our brother Jim, now what we have is us. And our dynamic, me, Letty, Lisa, Joe, Pauline, now what we have now is kind of like a Fantastic Four, so to speak, because it's just really us as a core. And I feel myself being renewed with strength because I know that they need me as much as I need them. So I wanted to make sure that I get myself on the road to recovery and bring that strength back to the table and bring back that commitment to making sure that both of our organizations flow. And today, for the first time, like I said, since my son was taken from this earth, today was the first time that I did not cry when I woke up. Today was the first time, some 4 years ago, that I went and I had a good time today with everything that I did. And I feel even better here at the radio station, because if it wasn't for you, John Pierre, giving me back my freedom of speech, I don't know what I was going to do. I know you're going to be humble. I know you're going to be humble. Please don't. Just accept these flowers, bro. CMPradio.net during that 2-year process gave me back my freedom of speech. Something that I needed. Something I needed to have for myself. Maybe nobody's listening. Maybe everybody's listening. Maybe people are understanding. Maybe people don't care. There are people that have acknowledged what I do and said, hey, we appreciate you doing what you're doing. There are some people that have said, hey, we know what you're doing, but I don't totally agree with it. And to those people, I say, I want to thank the veterans of America for giving me the opportunity to exercise my freedom of speech rights underneath the Constitution. And as long as I'm not breaking the law with it, you can just sit there and watch. Because I'm real big on that, bro. Like, people have all sorts of their own way of expressing themselves. And you know what? I may not like it, but they're not going to know it. They're not. Because you know why? Because now if I'm negative towards them, they're like, well, who are you? Da, da, da. This is how I feel. This is my perspective, blah, blah, blah. I've learned to accept other people's points of view. Right. I'm not saying that I'm accepting it and I'm adding it to me. Right. Because if I don't believe in it, I'm not going to take useless stuff and add it to my collective. But I've learned the art of listening to people better. Absolutely. I've learned the art of compromise, because like even today I was out with my state rep. Yeah, there's gonna be a picture with my state rep Gina Curry. Don't get mad. It's community. It's community action, guys. If I'm going to represent for the community, I got to represent in all ways. Right. If I'm going to represent, I'm going to be there with my state representative, and I'm going to rep my state rep. Absolutely. Okay, she's my state rep. Right. And I know that she may be liked over here or not liked over here or not well liked, blah, 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 but she is the state rep that I got. And she is the state rep that does listen to me. She is the state rep that does answer my questions. She is the state rep that does look out for me. And I'm just going to say that. I've recently had a conversation with her. And, I'm going to tell you right now, I think that the direction that we're going is going to be extremely beneficial. We're going to start to see some changes in Upper Darby because there are things that I'm pushing and there are things that I'm changing with me and the direction that all of us need to have. We all need to be honest with each other. Mm-hmm. This is forgiveness through therapy. Right. Is being honest. Our politicians need to be honest.
Again, people have traumas that they don't know. If you didn't go to therapy and really sit down and allow her to dig into you to bring it out, you wouldn't have known, right? So it's hard for people to be honest when they don't know what's in that honesty, right?
Yeah. They don't know what honesty looks like.
They've never had it before.
And I'm going to say this. It's hard for people to look at yourself and really come out and say, this is who I am at this moment. Hold on. Who I am at this moment. Mm-hmm. That's not who you are completely. It's who you are at this moment. So it's a transition right now. Right. You have to come to a realization after assessing and make a decision. Decisions have to be made. You can stay in that place. You can stay there. You can stay there. Or you can make good causes because you've identified what the problems are and move on. I've had people tell me, I've listened to a lot of preachers who, after death, they say, once you get to that year, if you're still in that same place, you may not come out of your depression if you stay in that same place. And I've seen a lot of people who have stayed in that same place over a period of time. One of the things about my therapy that I told my therapist is that by this time next year, I don't want to have this conversation on August the 4th. Next year. I want to make this the final year that I have this type of conversation. Because next year, I want to talk about what I'm doing in the name of that to keep it as a positive memory and give these kids something to hope for, even though it's tragedy. I can take my son's life and say, I can identify with you. I can identify with your angry young man. I can identify with what's happened to you. I can identify that people aren't showing you love. I can identify with the fact that you got hurt and pain. I can identify with the fact that your parents don't understand. I can identify with the fact that nobody wants to hear you crying. I can identify with the fact that nobody's going to call you in the middle of the night. I can identify with the fact that you feel as though that you're at your wit's end and nothing's going to work. I can identify with that now. But I can also tell you, you can overcome it.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And that's why on Men's Mental Health Mondays, cmpradio.net, the wonderful world of Rich Blye, we tackle these issues. Absolutely. And this is why I'm honest with you, because I'm a man. Right. I got mental health issues. Right. I'm dealing with them. Right. And now I'm going to share them because you know why? It makes me stronger getting it out. It's not a weakness. Will Taylor. It's not a weakness. I'm kidding. It's not a weakness, Jim Rat.
We do a show called Uncomfortable Conversations on Tuesdays where we break down the things. And my co-host, Drea B, she always says, you can't heal what you don't reveal. Mm-hmm. You have to reveal it. Mm-hmm. And you have to stand on it. Mm-hmm. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it stings, it's not going to sting as bad as keeping it inside of you. Right? So you let it out. You throw it up, you look at it, you examine it. Yeah, I know I said look at your throw up. You have to, because you got to know what was inside of you, what hurt you, what made you upset, what had you acting out that way. And a lot of it comes from traumas that we have as children, bro. It's not even the things that we're dealing with as adults. When we get back to the children stuff, we're like, damn, I was dealing with that then, and I didn't see it. I didn't hold it parallel to each other. It's like, shit.
We have compartmentalized
Yes, we
our
have.
youthful traumas
Yes.
and stuck them to the back of a closet somewhere.
Yes.
So when we're dealing with our teenage, dealing with our young adult, dealing with our adult issues, when we unpack these things, whoops, look what falls to the floor. Oh, I didn't know I had that. Oh, that was hold on, that was the foundation of which this one was built on. Here's the interconnection of why you feel this, because this one was over here. You didn't deal with this. You didn't deal with that rejection from over here.
Right. I had abandonment issues.
And that's where I can say, it's like I said, my biggest thing was rejection. A lot of people think, Rich, you were rejected? Yes. Do you? I want people to understand how I talk about the Juneteenth. Do you understand how badly it was to hear from black people that they didn't want to celebrate this when I first got
They
started?
didn't know what it was.
Bro, even when I sat
You
down,
can't get a group of black people to go outside of the norm.
bro,
Fourth of July.
It was depressing, bro.
It was.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you, it was so depressing. It was so depressing. I didn't even want to teach it. Like, people will tell you, I did not want to teach it. I did not want to talk about it. I got tired of go ahead, old head. Ain't nobody want to hear all of that. But wait a minute, you up here talking about, yeah, I'm black and I'm free, da da da. Well, here's the story. Oh, we ain't trying to hear that old stuff, OG. Okay. And I tried to go to other people in the community and say, hey, help me get this thing off the ground. I think one of the biggest things politically that really started me was when a nationalized Bangladesh citizen wanted to tell me that, this ain't the right time for you to bring this up right now. That was the catalyst for that. That was extremely painful. To have somebody else from a nationality from another country
Who's serving.
to tell me that it wasn't my time.
It's always my time.
And I think that was the start of that.
Right.
That
was just you being defiant.
Oh no, that was more than defiance with that one.
Right.
There was more than defiance. I was incensed that you had the audacity to trample on the history of our people.
I think about the history of our people, and I think about Christmas, and I think about Kwanzaa. I think about what Kwanzaa means, right? Everything that Kwanzaa represents to black people. Why don't we celebrate Kwanzaa? Right? Is that too black? Like, is that no? Just the things that are encompassed in Kwanzaa.
They can't pronounce the words.
Okay.
I'm gonna be very honest with you. See, people have to understand. I came to Chester to learn everything. Brian and I were going over to the re-entry program that Chester was getting started. And there was a couple there. I forget the name. I'm sorry, folks. If you watch this podcast, you know I know who you are. I've been to your house. And they invited us over to their house to participate in a Kwanzaa ceremony. And unfortunately, for those who are not cultured, it's something that you have to pay attention to. It's very thought-provoking. It's very lifestyle managed. It's a lifestyle managed holiday because it comes with promises. It comes with definitions. See, Christmas is Christmas. Santa comes down the chimney, give us toys, we play all day, eat, and then watch football. It's so simple. With Kwanzaa, you actually have to have an appreciation of life. You have to have a true representation of what it means to be spiritual at this time. See, Christmas isn't spiritual unless, you go to church and everything like that. But again, it's wrapped up in the paganism of giving the, gifts and everything like that. So how can you be spiritual and, do the pagan part? But again, that's for everybody else. And I still give out Christmas gifts and all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. But with Kwanzaa, it's very hard for people to grasp a concept that people assail against. Same thing with Juneteenth. Oh, that's a made-up holiday. It's made up. It's made up. It's made up. So is Christmas.
All of them are made up. But I just, like I said, when you think of Kwanzaa, you think of unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith.
Isn't that what we do every day?
Every day.
But so we're not going to do it. So we don't, hold on. So we're not going to celebrate the concepts, bro. Because you know why?
Why?
Because it's lip service every day. So why are you going to celebrate something that you really do in lip service? We got people that show up for events, bro. They come for that photo op. They come and they walk around.
I don't go to the events just because I don't want my picture taken. I'm where you were. The only thing that brought me out was a radio station.
Right.
Like last year it was rough.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like I was done with everything. About to cuss everybody out. About to tell everybody about themselves. About to tell the...
Hold on. Hey, Paulette, not necessarily. Paulette said, I think companies couldn't make money off of it, so they ignored it. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to say yes, but they have...
Capitalism is the big thing.
Yeah, capitalism. But I'm going to say also at the same time, they sell Kwanzaa cards. The card industry doesn't skip a beat.
If you give me a Kwanzaa card, I'm going to throw it in the trash in front of your face because there's no reason for you to give me a Kwanzaa card.
Oh, come on, bro. They going to put money in the card.
No. They put money in it. You can just put it in my hand. One thing I learned something yesterday. Over the weekend, my nephew had a graduation party. Men don't like cards.
No.
But women want us to like cards.
Yes.
But men have to like cards for women
Yes.
to pick the card.
Yes.
But men don't want to receive cards.
No.
We'll just take an envelope, the little money envelope that they give you. You feel me? With some money in there. That's cool. I don't need to know what somebody else is thinking for you because it's not my thoughts. But we need to be able to pick cards. That was just a quick.
Yeah. Listen,
And we had 2 hours. You killing me today. SummerSlam was yesterday. Raw is on, man.
I tell you. But no, I want to say this, wrapping this up in closing. Okay, we can only deal when we heal. We can only deal when we heal. We may not find our way today, but if you look back on it like it was yesterday, you're already a step closer to that goal. And that's how you got to live your life. That what happened today is already yesterday. And what we look for with purpose is a brighter tomorrow.
Let's go.
And that's where I'm at with my therapy. And that's why I'm happy today, even though it's August the 4th. And 4 years ago, I had a tragedy. The triumph is that you see the phoenix has risen from the ashes. Yeah. The triumph is that you do hear the bass in my voice. Yeah. The triumph is that you do see me laughing and joking, and you see the spring in my step. I'm back.